Hey guys, the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for April 3rd, 2025. We're going to do some 2025 NFL best ball drafts. So we did some last week and we're going to do some more this week. So before we get to it, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing something for the merch stores, Cole's Body, Cole's Choice, one of my favorite shirts. Some people are very confused by it and some people do understand what I'm talking about. So you can get that as well as everything else at the merch store. 25% off. As I said yesterday, this is the best you're going to get until Black Friday. $12, $13 a t-shirt. These are high quality t-shirt, and you can change the colors of all of these. So definitely recommend it. $10 for the mugs too. So check this out. Buying stuff from here would help us out. You can go to Amazon, buy my books. My latest book is Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of people I saw at Penn State for 6 years. It was a lot of fun to write, and I think you guys would have a lot of fun reading it if you're into that sort of thing. Also, please consider super chats and super stickers. That's the best way to support the show. We had a couple of super chats yesterday from Campaign and John Sanders. Also, the week before that, we had John. We had Slew. We had before that we had the Boss, Armac, Degeneron, Can Make an Eagle. You guys have been so great with your contributions. Just can't say that enough. Just really appreciate it because YouTube ads, I always say this, YouTube ads pay absolutely nothing. So yeah, we are going to get into a best ball draft, and we're going to do it with Kenny from thecapIsfake.com. Kenny, how's it going?
Oh, bro, we have, I am back after a hiatus from moving, and I just got to say, I was telling you this before we started recording, but let me tell you, moving, one of my least favorite things in the world. Absolutely. I mean, pickles is worse. Pickles are disgusting. No one should eat pickles.
Stop.
That's gross. And but moving is pretty much maybe the second worst thing in the world. Maybe pickles might be number one. Yellow mustard might be number one, actually. Then pickles, then moving. That's the pecking order of worst things in the world.
I totally agree with you on mustard. I hate mustard with a passion. It makes me gag. But pickles, man, what's wrong with you? Like, I love pickles so much. Pickles on anything. I'll pick like just a pickle sandwich, like bread, pickles, bread. Like I'll do that. That's how much I love pickles. I'm not even the biggest fan of pickles. As a friend of ours, you know Josh. He's I went to a restaurant with him once when we were in high school, and he was on a diet, and like all he ordered, he asked the waitress, like, "Do you have pickles?" And she's like, "Yes." And she's like, "I'll take pickles." She's like, "Is that it?" He's like, "Yes, I'll take pickles." So I was kind of envious because he had a better meal than me with just the pickles. So I'm sure you disagree, but I don't know. I'm a big fan. I don't get how you don't like pickles.
You're gross. It tastes like trash.
I'd like them a lot. It's John Sanders says it's funny because the only things that I hate on a burger are pickles and yellow mustard. I like pickles on a burger. I like the pickles on the Chick-fil-A sandwich. I can eat pickles with anything. Pickled pizza sounds awesome. I've never had it, but it sounds great. I could do anything with pickles.
Gross.
When I was a kid, I ate ketchup sandwiches, just bread, ketchup, bread. So I'm pretty. What do you say?
It's better than pickles.
I don't think so. I mean, ketchup's awesome, but I love pickles so much. I can't believe you don't like pickles. That's crazy.
Because they're gross. I don't go around with broken taste buds. My taste buds are intact. So
pickles are popular. It's not like it's some fringe thing that like
communism is popular too. It doesn't make it good. Soccer's popular. Being gay is popular. It doesn't make those things good.
But, well, I'm sure everyone in the chat will agree with your anti-soccer stance. It's we keep bringing up that soccer needs to be banned, and I couldn't agree more. And of course,
it does need to be banned. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible.
It's so boring.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about this. I brought this up in the chat as we wait for our draft to load. So my wife brought up the possibility of signing up my son for soccer class during the summer, and she's like, "Oh, it'll get his energy out. He'll learn like foot coordination, like he'll be able to use that in other sports." And I'm like, "Yeah, it makes sense," but I'm sure everyone in the chat is just not going to agree with that. They're just going to be angry. And so, what do you think?
No, listen. If you want your kid to be soft, effeminate, liberal, then go ahead and play soccer. Go for it. If that's the kind of kid you want to raise. Doesn't know how to use all of his resources. It's just
I guess it's 3 though. They're not actually like playing sports at 3. They're just running around. It's not like they're learning soccer. If he was like 8 or 10, I'd be like, yeah, that's where I draw the line. Even like 6, like 3 to 5, like they're not even playing sports. They can't play a real sport until they're like 7 or 8, right? You know, that's like when you start like doing the real sports. So I don't know. Although T. Ropey says soccer is one of the easiest sports to bet on. The favorites always seem to win. I don't know. I've never tried betting soccer. I bet
really.
soccer. What?
I'm surprised because you bet on everything.
I do. But I don't know anything about soccer. I'm not just gonna like blindly bet on stuff. I'll have to like Justice, that's like soccer Hitler. Sure he did. I'm sure he had favorite
story.
team. Yeah.
John speaks truth here.
Yes. Even though it's not communism, it's it's Nazis, but still same thing. No, I mean, I don't know. I think the 3 to 5-year-olds you're not really playing a sport, so I think it's okay because they're just running around like just haphazardly and once he gets to 6 and 7, like I want to like teach him real sports like like basketball and football is a little too young for 6 and 7, but still, I want to teach him, as I've always said, I want to teach him long snapping. I want to hire a long snapper coach. Not long snapper. What am I saying? Punting coach. Punting's better. Good long snappers, you can suffer concussions. Punting, that's the best. That's the best thing because it feels like easy, and it's at the very worst, it's a scholarship. And if he's good at punting, that's like it's $1 million a year plus in the NFL. Maybe even CFL, like you could probably make some money, but I think that's a good strategy. And you know what? Maybe the soccer will help his punting skills.
It will also help his communist skills. And, whatever. Listen, it's your kid. You do what you want, okay? I just listen, when your kid is in therapy, talking about all the emotional damage that was done him as a child because of the soccer he was forced to play. So that's between you and him, okay?
Yeah, I told you before we started recording. I took my son to swim lessons today, and he had 2 scratches on his knee because he fell 2 separate times. So he had 1 scratch, one was a little bit bigger on his left knee, and he had a Band-Aid. And when I was changing him, he was like, Daddy, keep the Band-Aid on. I'm like, dude, it's gonna fall off in the pool. He's like, no, the swim trunks keep it on. I'm like, I don't know how this logic applies. So he gets into the pool, he starts swimming with the swim instructor, and like he takes like his 3rd lap, the Band-Aid falls off, and he starts freaking out. He like starts crying, like it's like my Band-Aid fell off, and the swim instructor is like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, so I go over to him. I'm like, Connie, come on, just do a couple laps. You can tell mommy how you did some laps. He's like, no, I don't want to do it now. And my mom's actually there to watch him. And she's like, Connie, I came all this way to watch you. It's like a half-hour drive for her. He's like, no. He keeps crying. It's like $125. I was like, that's great. Great. I spent this $125. It's $125 a month, but still, it's like still pretty expensive. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I got my money's worth here, right?
Listen, I swimming is a real sport, but I'm not gonna have my kids swim either. Listen, it's baseball, it's basketball, it's baseball, basketball, football, and that's it. Like, what are you doing? No track.
Swimming's
no
good for your
karate.
stamina. Swimming's really good for your stamina.
Yeah, just go run some laps. Okay,
running's so bad for your knees. That'll kill your knees. Like
That's
swimming's like the best for like your joints and stuff because you're not really doing it, and it's always like a good skill to have. And like it's the best exercise. Like really, I was telling you before we started recording. Like I feel like we could have just taped the show then. When I was ahead of my wedding, I was 210 pounds. And I told my wife, I was like, I want to get down to what I was when I met you. I was like 165 back then. And in 3 months, I got down to 168. I couldn't get the last 3 pounds. And I think part of it was like the week of the wedding, we had like all these dinners and stuff like that. So that kind of wrote it. But what I did was I worked out every day. I swam a mile every day, which is like a half hour. I ate half portions for everything, like even cereal, half portions. And then I had no soda, which I am violating right now with this Pepsi. as we were waiting for this draft to load. So, I mean, that's the way I did it. But now, unfortunately, I'm back to 210 because I have 2 kids and COVID hit. So it's like double whammy,
Listen, there's nothing wrong with being overweight, okay? Listen.
RFK disagree. I don't know. Speaking of RFK, do you think Trump is pulling the old trash and cash with these tariffs?
Trash, and cash. I don't know what that means.
I'm not. Is that like lower the stock price and buy everything up? I don't. Is that what you mean, John? He just said we're doing reciprocal tariffs. It's like whatever other countries are charging us, we're going to charge other countries, which seems like totally fair. Hey, we have the number 1 pick. The draft loaded. We have the number 1 pick. So yeah, John, if you want to explain that. So yeah, I don't know if you saw that today.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, look, we drafted Barkley at number 2 last week, and now we have the number 1 pick. So yeah, I'm down to take Barkley again. You think you should be the top pick over Ja'Marr Chase?
Yeah, because I just never think there is no format in which drafting receiver number 1 makes sense to me. So yeah.
Opposite of pump and dump. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, ride it down and then buy up when it's low. I could see that. I don't know what the stock market is going to be like tomorrow because the SPY like crashed, like dropped like 20 something points overnight or after hours, I should say. I saw GameStop drop like $1.50 or so. Like everything plummeted except for fiat, which is like, if you want to short the stock market, fiat's like the best stock. It just paid 125% dividend today. Which is pretty crazy. But it's that stock ticker is FIAT. It's an ETF. It's short of Bitcoin. And like whenever the stock market or the Bitcoin drops, stock market drops. Yeah, not always, but that seems to be the case. But yeah, that fiat was
giving you both fantasy football and stock advice. This is remarkable.
We're going to be doing an episode on here. The entire episode is just going to be teaching covered calls and cash secured puts, which is I told you about them before, but it's free money in the stock market. It's pretty remarkable, and a lot of people don't know it. I've spoken to people who have been investing for years, like decades even, and they've never heard of covered calls and cash secured puts. And I'm like, how do you not know this? I mean, I didn't know this until recently, but like, I'm thinking like, how do most people not know this? It's insane because it's free money, as long as you're investing in stocks. Like it's pretty incredible. I don't know if you've got it because I told you about it. Have you got into it at all?
I've not. I hate free money.
Yeah,
I want expensive money.
Right, you have to work for it. You're like the Greyjoys. All right, so our draft has started with we have the 2-3 third-year guys with Gibbs and Bijan, and then we have Chase as the receiver to start this draft. So nothing unusual here. You said Barkley 1. Who would you have taken second?
Yeah, Gibbs is my second running back in all formats, so it's probably Gibbs.
Okay.
We kind of went through our ranking or kind of our early rankings a few weeks back, but as things as free agency continues, as the draft happens, I'm sure that we'll shake that up quite a bit. There's probably 3 to 5 running backs that I think will likely be at the top of my list before a receiver. So yeah, to me, Ja'Marr Chase is not going to be in my running. I still draft like it's 1995.
Well, does it change your mind here that it's 3 receivers and also a flex? Because I mean, receivers are more valuable for that reason.
Yeah. It certainly bumps them. There's just so many receivers. Like the problem with receivers in fantasy right now, and maybe this will change at some point, but it's just like you've got a handful of guys that are great, and then you have this like, there's no such thing as a wide receiver 2 anymore. It's just like you've got like 7 wide receiver 1s, and you have like 40 wide receiver 3s. It's just like they're all the same, and it's just like it varies so dramatically. It's so like just random and luck based from week to week. There's just it's so hard to like. There's no real middle ground with the receiver anymore. So it's just sort of like I'll just throw a bunch of darts at like the guys on the end. Like that's kind of how I feel like. I don't know. Yeah, as we get close, as we do more drafts, maybe I'll change my mind. I mean, there's a lot of receivers going off the board right now, so. clearly I'm in the minority here.
Well, if your theory is correct about there being so very few receiver ones, like doesn't that mean that you should take receiver ones early because they're so rare?
I mean, not necessarily the place where I'm gonna have to take a receiver one. I'm usually want to prefer a running back there in most situations. And there's going to be exceptions, I'm sure, nuances and caveats to this, but you get into rounds 2, 3, and 4, and it's just like the receivers in that spot are just like the receivers in round 5 are the same as the receivers in round 2. Sometimes it feels like once you get beyond a certain ilk of guys, you're just like, why waste my time with that guy? And so. I usually I'm gonna prefer RB1 over wide receiver 1, and I'm gonna prefer to just wait on wide receivers. So I just gonna end up with a lot of running backs. That's what happened going into 2024 in every league I was in. I basically the first 4 rounds walked away with 3 running backs and 1 receiver. That was normative. Last year, and I think that same thing will happen again.
Well, let's talk about some of the players here. One sticks out is Astrid Genty went 203. Is that do you think that's a little too early for him?
Yeah, I'm never taking a rookie running back that high.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. It would depend on where he gets drafted, which obviously is like that's a cheat, right? I'm like, to say that, but it does feel a little high for me. I'm it's a little small. I gotta make the screen bigger so I can see. Okay. Yeah, are there running backs that should have gone ahead of him that are still on the board?
Let's look at the running backs. We have Achane, Taylor, Irving, Jacobs, Williams, Cook.
Yeah, I'd take almost all those guys ahead of him right now.
Yeah, well, we're up in like 5 or 6 picks. McCaffrey stands out to me at 201. Also, it's kind of weird to see him at 201. Where would you take McCaffrey?
I don't know where to take him, man. He feels like such a wild card because obviously if he's healthy, everything goes right in San Francisco. He should be a top 5, top 7 pick. But those are big question marks. So I don't know. To me, it's like if he's in the 3rd round, sure, it's probably value there. But there's so many other guys that feel safer that have the same upside that I'd rather over him.
All right, we're up in 2 picks, so let's start looking at the players available. Top players: Josh Allen, there's Tyreek Hill, Lamar Jackson, T. Higgins, and then the running backs we mentioned: Jacobs, Williams, Cook. Jonathan Taylor just went. Who are you considering here at the turn?
Jacobs and Williams to me are a little bit of and then I put Chase Brown in that same mix there. I'd put them ahead of Breece Hall or Joe Mixon. And so I love Chase Brown going into this year. And then, at the receiver position, Tyreek's good value in this spot right here, I think.
You think so? I mean, he looked over the hill last year. I don't know. Maybe he bounces back, but that offensive line isn't really good. So they're not protecting. Josh Allen just went. I thought he was kind of interesting, but he's gone. So we have 2 picks here to make. I think at least one of them should be a running back. I agree. What should the second one be?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's receiver, right? I mean, I would imagine, unless you just think there's no value here whatsoever. Yeah, to me, Hill, Higgins, and Jigba are all. We got 5 seconds here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Jacobs here. So, Jackson Smith and Jigba's fine. Higgins fine. McLaurin. I mean, I like all these guys. I don't think we necessarily need to take a receiver. Like, there's some good ones down here we could end up with. So. If we're like loaded at running back, we don't have to worry about that position for a long time. So I'm down to take Kyren Williams if you want, or Chase Brown.
I love Kyren Williams here.
All right, let's do it. And I'm getting more and more bullish on the Rams heading into the season. I bet them to win this. Well, I used a bonus bet for them to win the Super Bowl. As we discussed, they came closest to beating the Eagles in the playoffs, and they got Devontae Adams now. Like Cooper Kupp was washed up. They got Devontae Adams, and they're young defensive players who were a couple of them were rookies last year, and now they're going to have experience. They kept their offensive line intact, and they had great coaching. Stafford's still there, obviously. Nakua, Kyren Williams. Seems like a really good team, and I wouldn't mind having the running back on that really good team.
Yeah. I'm not sure that I agree that Kupp is washed based on what I saw, but I know we already disagreed.
We talked about that, yeah. Let's see. Higgins and Smith are the only receiver twos. The boss says. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they're both inconsistent because they're not the number one options in their team. They're both going to be the number 3 options on the offenses this year, right? Cincinnati, Chase Brown and Jamar Chase are probably going to get more looks, more attention in the offense.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith is going to be behind Saquon and AJ. So, while they're great players and in other situations might even be better for fantasy, I think they still have, downsides in any given week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Sue says you're poised to take a quarterback and tight end on the turn utilizing the Kenny strategy.
Let's do it.
We actually took we did 2 drafts last week. In the second draft, I took Josh Allen at 211. That's exactly where he went this week. I don't know. I know you hate taking quarterbacks early, but I just thought that the Josh Allen has like supreme upside at the position, which is so important in best ball. I don't know. I mean, would you ever take him that early in best ball, or I know you wouldn't in regular, but does best ball change your opinion?
I'm even less likely to take a quarterback high in best ball because the upside of even bad quarterbacks in any given week. I mean, any given week, Baker Mayfield or Kenny Pickett could throw for 4 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Maybe not Kenny Pickett, but
4 touchdowns to the other team. You mean?
yeah, exactly. Those count, right?
Yeah.
So I think in I would rather take 3 mediocre bad quarterbacks, and I think collectively they'll put up the same numbers in best ball.
Yeah, I actually did an ADP review with Butters last week, and we found that the mid rounds, rounds 8 to 12, there's so many good values of quarterbacks. So I think that's where you take your 3 quarterbacks. And I said this before. I think you need at least 3 players at a position at every position in best ball.
At least,
yeah, because if you have one quarterback on a bye and the other one's injured, you only have one during a certain week. And what if he has a terrible game? You're just going to take such a big hit. It's just so important to have 3 positions. But plus, you can't pick players up. This is not regular fantasy. Right. I like the I call it the Ellie, 3-7-7-3, 3 quarterbacks, 7 running backs, 7 receivers, 3 tight ends. But yeah, I mean, you could be 3-6-8-3 or 3-8-6-3, or I think you need at least 7 receivers. So maybe I think that's probably the only alternative is 3-6-8-3.
6 is the minimum.
Yeah, for running backs, and receivers. Yeah. Chase Brown just went. He went 404. Kind of late considering that we were considering him a 301.
It does feel late. It seems like good value.
But yeah, it seems like great value. N8T30, the 11th team, they took 4 receivers to start this draft. We had some wild drafts last week. Oh, first of all, it was funny. The guy drafting next to us was actually in the chat, which I thought was hilarious. And there was one guy who took his 3rd quarterback before his 3rd running back. And I was like, what are you doing? And then one guy in the 2nd draft, he ended up with only 2 quarterbacks, Geno Smith and Aiden O'Connell, both Raider quarterbacks.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not good at all. So glad to see Najee Harris going here. I don't have much interest in him in the 4th round. It's much different than the Chargers starting running back last year, J.K. Dobbins going 11th round in best ball. Yeah. I drafted Dobbins every chance I could get. But Harris in the 4th round seems so much less appealing. Interesting. Devontae Adams is going 4th round.
Pretty late.
I thought he would be earlier too.
Yeah, that feels like value.
I was looking at Jameson Williams as a possibility here. I thought he might come back to us. So we're up in 2 picks. Let's look at the receivers. Unless you want to take Burrow, I really don't, and I don't think we need to look at running backs. So I'm glad because these running backs. I mean, a couple are decent, but not great. Chris Godwin just went. So we have Zay Flowers. I know you like him. Devontae Smith. Can't really take Devontae. Okay, you won anyway. Zay Flowers, Metcalf, Sutton, Odunze, Samuel, Olave, McMillan. Anyone stand out? Addison.
I mean, I like DK in that spot. I like Zay Flowers in that spot there. Yeah, I like Olave there. I don't know what to make of Debo. I think we could talk about him in a bit. I like
better real life than fantasy,
Yeah, yeah. Who's
All right.
who's further down the list there?
Okay. Let's see. Tyrell McMillan, Jordan Addison, Jalen Waddle, Jawan Jennings, Jerry Judy, Cooper Cup. But I mean, these guys might come back to us anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I actually Jennings to me is I think is got a potential sleeper value to him. I think he's got more upside than people realize. But
I agree. Hopefully, he can come back to us in round 6. So let's go Metcalf. And so this is the start of our team. We have Barkley, Jacobs, Williams, Zay Flowers, Metcalf. It's pretty good to me.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. It's kind of crazy that Metcalf's going 2 rounds later than Jack Smith and Jigba now. That would have been pretty crazy to think a year ago.
Yep.
But things changed very quickly in the NFL. The boss asking, what do you think of Aaron Jones's ADP with the improved offensive line? Yeah, they added Ryan Kelly and Will Fries in Minnesota. And where did Aaron Jones go? Did he get drafted yet? I don't believe so. What's his ADP on here? Let's look. Aaron Jones' ADP is 72 overall. What do you think about Aaron Jones? Yeah, around there. If it weren't for his injury history, I would love it. But I still like it. What do you think?
I think it's 6th round. Right? Is that right? So he says 72, 73. So late 6th.
72. Yeah, 612 actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good value for him. I think there's some good upside there. I just don't know what to make of the offense. I don't know how good they're going to be. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
But we may look back and just think, man, that was a steal. If the offense is great, and they're scoring lots of touchdowns, we're going to look back and think that was a massive steal. He should have been a second or third round there.
We thought the offense would be terrible last year when they went into the season with Sam Darnold, right?
Yeah.
They had such a great offense. I mean, look, the way I see it is like McCarthy is a complete unknown, but they have, I think, a top 5 offensive line. They have arguably the best receiver in the NFL. They have one of the better number 2 receivers, Jordan Addison, the number 2 receiver. And they have Aaron Jones, pretty good. Kevin O'Connell's an offensive guru. So like they have a lot of things going for them. Again, we don't know how good McCarthy is going to be, but even if he's like below average, I still think that offense can be so explosive.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like Aaron Jones quite a bit. I don't want to really take a 4th running back before a 3rd receiver, which I guess like we're making the same picks, but if he's there, I'm interested. But I think we need to really bolster receivers because you need to start 3, like I was saying before. That 11th team just took their 5th receiver in a row, Jordan Addison. He's a good receiver. He's good receivers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Does he know that he has other positions to play? Like maybe he doesn't know. Maybe no one told him.
No, it's like, we just draft receivers here. It's like, okay, sounds like fun. I don't know. We'll see what he does. It'll be interesting to look at his team and see how it panned out. But I know you don't like. I know you don't like London, right? And then Rashee Rice might be suspended. So, I mean, even his receivers doesn't look great.
Yeah, I mean Adams was good value.
Yeah,
but there are other guys I would have taken in that spot, and in every single one of his picks, there's someone else I would have taken instead. So.
Yeah. Oh, John, bringing up something I wanted to touch when we took Barkley. Where's Hurts and Barkley in the fantasy rankings? Did they ban the tush push? Like part of my reason for taking Barkley number 1 is because the tush push might be banned. By the way, sixth receiver, Juwan Jennings.
Wow. I like Juwan Jennings, but wow.
It's your 6th receiver. So what do you think about the fantasy implications of the tush push?
I don't think it's anything. Like I don't know that anyone could quantify what the implications would be enough to me to change who I'm drafting where. Like that's
doesn't it just like make Barkley a lot better?
No, not at all. I don't think so at all. I think there's no data that supports that. First of all, I think the Eagles will do the quarterback sneak just as often, and they'll be just as successful. I don't think the push is what makes that play successful. The thing that makes a play successful for the Eagles is they have a phenomenal offensive line and they have a quarterback that can squat 600 pounds. The tush push doesn't. That's like, so they're going to do quarterback sneak with or without. 150-pound Devontae Smith pushing him in the back is not what makes a difference. I mean, so. I just think the whole controversy is silly. I'm just like, If you guys watch do you guys really think the push is making that big a difference? I mean, I think it's so minimal. I think the Eagles will do just as much quarterback sneaks, and I don't know that it'll make that much of a difference.
I feel like they're going to run a little bit more, at least on the goal line with Barkley. I think you'll get more touches at the goal line.
Maybe they get unlucky and they just never get tackled at the one, and they're at the.
I mean, last year that would have made Barkley even better, right? Because he got tackled so much at the 1 yard line.
Maybe they just throw the ball to wherever their new tight end is every time when they're inside the 5. I don't know. Drawing straight lines between those sort of things. I'm like, so many things could happen. There's so many moving parts. Could it make a difference? Sure. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it make that big a difference.
All right. Well, we're up in 2 picks. Mahomes just got taken. So the best player according to ADP is Dave Montgomery, who he just got taken. Jerry Jeudy, Mayfield, Aaron Jones, and then we go to receivers. We can look at tight ends, Kelsey Hawkinson. I think we need receivers. So there's Jerry Jeudy, Khalil Shakir, Ricky Pearsall, Jacoby Myers, George Pickens. Probably don't want Pickens. Calvin Ridley, Jaden Reed, Stephon Diggs, Brandon Ayuk. What are you thinking here? Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter's an interesting name, right? I like Shakir. I think I like Shakir more than most people. I like Jaden Reed in best ball. I don't like him in regular fantasy. I actually like him in best ball a lot. Because
we have Jacobs though, so that's a conflict.
That's a good point. I forgot.
I would like to recommend Calvin Ridley. He had some big games last year.
Yeah,
and they're going to have a number 1 overall quarterback, so he could be better.
I'm in the Ridley.
Okay, all right, let's take Ridley. All right, so so team, we have 4 receivers now. Where team is Barkley, Jacobs, Williams, Flowers, Metcalf, Shakir, and Ridley. I think it's pretty good. I'm interested. Pearsall got taken. I had a lot of interest in Pearsall, given that Ayuk is coming off the torn ACL, and Pearsall had some really good finishes. He had some really good games at the finish of the season last year. So I was hoping he would fall to us, but he didn't. But I still like the 2 receivers we took. Interesting that team 4 took Daniels and then Mahomes. I think that's a good strategy. Sure, you would agree?
No, not in a 1 quarterback league.
No, not at all. And he took his second quarterback for his third running back and his third receiver. But then he took his third running back, Aaron Jones. So it's a pretty good pick at least. But
I like Aaron Jones.
I just don't get why you would draft a quarterback in the 3rd round and then draft one in the 6th rounds. What do you did you not like your 3rd round pick quarterback? Why are you taking a guy in the 6th round? I just don't get it. And it's not like Mahomes is amazing value there. It's not all right, you got, if this was Jalen Hurts in the 6th round, if he just fell there, I could understand it, because he should be going in the 4th round. You got him 6th. Okay, fine. Mahomes is not great value there. And I do think Mahomes will bounce back because they got their left tackle. They're going to have better receivers. He hasn't been a great fantasy quarterback in years since Tyreek Hill left. So, I just seems like a waste of pick to me.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's a potential that he is going to come out in FU mode, right? I wonder if there's that's the one thing that makes me wonder, will Mahomes come out in a mode that is different? Because we did see down the last few games of the season, there was a shift. And I wonder if that has a potential to continue. Yeah.
This guy likes his Ohio State running backs. He took Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. And he also has Chase Brown. So this guy might live in Ohio, I think. We just figured that one out. I'm curious to see what this N8T30 guy takes because he has 6 receivers. Does he go after receiver number 7?
Yes.
Yes, he's going to take receiver 7 and 8 here. And by the way, Team 12 took Walker and Kupp back to back, which I get stacking, but that's negative correlation stack. All right, so he took his quarterback, Goff. Did he pair him with anyone? There's no correlation there. No. So he has 6 receivers and a quarterback. This is 0 running back for sure. So I don't look if he lands his good running backs in the late rounds, he could have a great team. But that would require some luck.
Yeah, I don't like the 0. Well, obviously everyone knows this. I don't love the 0 running back philosophy. when it works out, I think it's more luck than it is anything.
No. I mean, really, I just don't understand it. Yeah, so he took Tyler Warren as his tight end. So yeah, definitely zero running back. He could at least like taken a tight end earlier, like instead of a sixth receiver. You know, they could like if you took Laporta here, this would look better, and they take a running back here. Not that I would like his team. I think it would just look better, or just don't take Drake London in the second round. I don't know. I just like it just makes no sense to me to go zero running back unless like there's like no value no matter what, like every time for some reason. Like if that happens and you're like, oh, I don't want to force a running back, like I get it. But like in the second round, he could have taken Bucky Irving, he could have taken Devon Achane, Jonathan Taylor. In the third round, well, third round's fine. Fourth round, he could have taken Cook, Brown, Hall, Mixon. So they're all good running backs here. Sixth round, he could have taken Connor, Tracy, Montgomery. Like he just whiffed on opportunities to take guys just to take more receivers. It just doesn't make sense. Like there's good receivers late. Like you could have turned one of these receivers into a late receiver and just drafted one running back. You know, I don't get it.
Oh, he's the anti-Kenny.
That's true. He's like, Kenny's watching the show. I'll show him and I'd build a team. He just happens to know that. I don't know. It was very funny that this guy who was drafting I Am the Kai, he was drafting right after us, and we were discussing tight ends. Like we didn't draft any tight ends, so we took two tight ends back to back in like rounds 9 and 10, or maybe it was like 11 and 12. And and so we took the two tight ends, and then he comes in the chat and is like, "You sniped both my tight ends." It's so funny that he's in here with us at the same time. Bo Nix just got taken, so I kind of like Bo Nix. I like a little bit better this year. Caleb Williams too. So I think still a little too early for a quarterback. I think. A little bit.
I mean, I wouldn't be against a quarterback at this stage, or I think this is the stage that you start thinking about it.
I mean, would you take Murray, Purdy, Fields here? Like, I'm not crazy about them.
Yeah. What's the tight end pool look like right now?
And Njoku, I know you love him. I know you love Evan Ingram.
My favorite.
Yeah, I don't look. We took Kraft and K. Those are the two tight ends. I think we can maybe get them later.
Yeah.
The receivers, you have Igbuka, Downs, McMillan, Kirk. We do need at least one receiver, I think, here.
Pittman feels like the undervalued guy here, right? Like he feels like of all the guys in this mix, he's the one that probably has the most upside. He could totally be, or Rashad Bateman also is another guy. I think both those Pittman more than Bateman.
I'm not a big Bateman guy. I do like Pittman. I know. What about Christian Kirk? Because you used to be a big fan of Christian Kirk.
I am. Yeah, I'm just not sure what to make of him with the injuries. He feels like he's not the same player he once was. It feels like there's, I'm bummed because I've been a Christian Kirk fan for a long time.
So we have to make one more pick. I'm not opposed to taking another receiver, given that I know you don't like a joke. I would take a Joker here, but I know you don't like.
Yeah, I think at this stage in the draft it's fine.
Okay, all right, we'll take a Joker. All right, so we now have 5 receivers and tight end. We don't have a quarterback, but I think on the way back we could take a quarterback, tight end, or quarterback, depending on who's available. So, Murray went anyway. We couldn't get him. It's funny that we're like, we don't like him too much, and then he goes. It's like one of my favorite feelings in fantasy. Is like it's like I don't know if I wanted this guy, and then some guy takes me like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to worry about making that decision. I'm the guy here. Here he is. Double tap made the service for pushing them. hey, I'm the guy. Thanks for joining us again. It sucks you're not in this draft. It would have been fun to do that again. But anyway, I'm Kai. If you're still here, what do you think about the strategy taking 6 receivers in a row and then a tight end, just like a tight end quarterback, no running backs? Just it feels like a misstep of sorts, but I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he just doesn't like any of the running. Maybe he just doesn't like any of the running backs. I think all these guys suck. By the way, the guy who took Daniels and Mahomes took Justin Fields. What? Why? What are you doing? Come on, man.
Justin Fields is he going to play this year?
Well, he's listed as the starter right now.
Does that mean anything?
No, because they could draft a quarterback. They could take Shedeur Sanders at 7. They could take Jackson Dart second round. They could take Shador Sanders second round if he falls to the second round. You said it, like, I mean, do you want to talk about like the Shador Sanders second round buzz that you were talking about?
I mean, yeah, there seems to be a significant number of teams that don't think he's a first round prospect. The fact, I mean, obviously quarterbacks always get pushed up. That's just the nature of the position at current time in the NFL. And there's because of Deion Sanders and Colorado's kind of high profile program at this point now, like that, all of that's kind of pushing him up a little bit. And so, but there are people in the NFL people who work in the front offices and who think like a significant number. And so, there's, one contact we have just said, hey, I don't think this guy's going to go in the first round. I'd be shocked. But as you've said before, it only takes one team, right? I mean,
yeah, Kenny Pickett went first round,
Yeah.
So like it just takes one team to fall in love with a player.
Right.
That's all it takes,
So,
but he said he'd be shocked if he went first round.
He didn't say shocked. I think he said surprised. I think he'd be surprised. Okay. He's not. He said he said he'd be shocked if he went number 2, because I think you had him. You had a number 2 or number 3 in your mock, didn't you?
Yes. I am 3 now. After speaking with Charlie yesterday, we did a show with Charlie. I think in the next update, he's gonna be out of my first round, I think.
Oh, wow.
I just don't know where to put him. I think maybe, you know what? Second round to Cleveland, I think, is where I'm going to go with him. And I think the Browns might trade up into the back of the first round to take him.
Which would be smart. If you think a guy's worth a second round pick, getting into the late first is valuable because of the 5th year option. Like that's it's a huge deal for teams to be able to. The 5th year option gives teams so much more leverage. You saw that with the Bengals and Jamar Chase. Like you have so much more leverage with the team, with a player. So, we had this one contact with the team, saw your mock draft and said, he said, I'd be shocked if he goes number 2, as you've got him. So, yeah. But again, it only takes one team. One team who's in love with him to just say, you know what, screw it, we're going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is we don't know what team that's going to be, and Charlie has a lot of contacts around the league, and he hasn't found that team yet. So, at least, like with Pickett, we knew the Steelers liked him because he went to Pittsburgh, which is the stupidest reason to take a prospect. It'd be like if the Broncos taking Shador Sanders because he went to Colorado, even though they have Bo Nix. Like that's like the same thing almost. It's like it just doesn't make any sense. They're like, we passed in Dan Marino, we have to take Kenny Pickett. It's like, okay, well, Kenny Pickett's not as good as Dan Marino. Right. Doesn't have that like massive arm, So anyway, so it's interesting. Team 11, they have Swift and Pacheco now at running back. So I like Pacheco in the 10th round. I think that's amazing value because he was going way earlier last year, and he got hurt, and he just never was the same when he came back. And I think people are looking at that and be like, oh, he's not good anymore or something. But I think 10th round's a steal for him.
And DeAndre Swift is a good player and put up good numbers, at times last year.
Mm-hmm. Drake May just went. I'm just looking at the quarterbacks. All right, we're up in 3 picks, so let's go to the board here. I think we have to look at quarterback. There's C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott, Penix, Stafford. I like these guys, but even McCarthy's like, we saw what Darnold did. And McCarthy can run. Quick look at running backs. We have Etienne, Charbonnet, Scatterbo, Mason. I don't think we need to go there. Receivers, Mims, Bateman. There's Bateman still there. Brown, Thielen, Coleman. And the tight ends, we still have those guys. Kincaid's there, Goddard, likely. We have a tight end already. Etienne just went. So what are you thinking here? I think we need to go. I wouldn't mind going double quarterback here. What do you think?
Yeah, I love Stafford in this bunch. I mean, I think he's the safest and the floor. He's at the highest floor and the potential upside. So, and then CJ Stroud, if he bounces back, I mean, we saw what he was 2 years ago. He was awesome.
Yep.
If that team bounces back, he, in next year's drafts, he'll be getting drafted in the first 4 rounds, right? So like, I think he's the guy that got a lot of upside in this sort of format in particular.
Scatterbo just went. Yeah, I'm kind of sad that we didn't draft Kirk now because that'd be nice to pair Stroud. But I mean, we didn't know how it was going to unfold.
Right.
I'm going to take both these quarterbacks, and I think we need one more quarterback after this. We need 2 tight ends. We need 2 receivers and like at least 3 running backs. So
I will tell you, I'm a little surprised Dallas Goedert is still on the board at this point. I think he should be gone. He's better than some of the tight ends that have already gone. He's got more upside, and we don't know where he's going to get traded to, but it seems like they're going to trade him likely to a team that is tight end needy, and I think he'll have more options most likely than he has in Philly. So I think Goddard has a chance to be huge upside. I'm surprised he's not gone at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, the team that trades for him is going to want to use him. So it really makes sense that he should be going earlier than this. I completely agree. I think people are just scared off because they don't know. There's uncertainty, and like you see it in like the stock market. If there's uncertainty, people are worried. Like you just don't know. But I mean, logically, if you think about it, it does make sense that he would outproduce his current draft range. So I'm definitely on board to take Goddard if he comes back to 12-12. We'll see if that happens. We have a couple comments here. I'm the guy says, if you would have taken Brian Robinson or Stevenson, I would have liked those potential spikes over Swift and Pacheco. See, I like Pacheco. Swift. I worry about Swift because the Bears could easily take Gentry at 10, and then Swift is kaput, like running back for fantasy wise. Like Pacheco is definitely safe. Swift is not. Like the Bears could easily take a running back in the first 2 rounds because Swift is so injury prone. So that's why I worry about here with this draft. And this draft locks as soon as the NFL draft starts, or this league locks until the NFL draft starts. So no one's going to know anything. It's not like you can wait and get better information. That's why I like this. Like no one knows what the bye weeks are. Like what if Stroud, Stafford, and the third quarterback we take both all have the same bye week? It's going to suck. But we just a lot of people. It's going to happen to a lot of people in here because no one's going to know when the bye weeks are, which is I think that's pretty fun. Like you just no one has the information unless someone drafting here is friends with the schedule maker. It's okay, make it so all my teams do well. That'd be the biggest scandal. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but it would be funny. So I don't know.
I love it. It could happen. I believe it.
It could happen. They can make it into a movie. John says, glad they upgrade the offensive line receivers in Houston, so Stroud could be a steal. Well, they did get Kirk, and I do think they're going to take a tackle in the first round, so that'll help. It doesn't look great now, but
No.
if Trent Brown stays healthy and they get a tackle is good, suddenly it's not looking too bad, And plus, maybe hopefully Nico Collins stays healthy all year. Maybe Christian Kirk stays healthy. I don't know. I'm sure they'll take a receiver too in the early rounds. So I don't know.
I would imagine they have to.
Yeah, but I mean Stroud's talented. He's a talented guy. I think there's a good chance he bounces back if they do draft well. Now, if they blow their picks, then maybe not. But all right, so we are halfway through round 12. We have all quarterbacks, tight ends going. That team 11 took his second tight end in Zach Ertz, and he took his second quarterback in Michael Penix. He still only has 2 running backs. But we did note this a couple times last week, is that felt like rounds 13 through 16 is the sweet spot. Goddard just went, by the way. Third tight end, by the way, third already, which is I guess round 12 is okay. Round 13 through round 16 is the sweet spot for backup running backs. We're talking about Tyler Algier, Blake Corum, all these guys we talk about, they should be on your team because if they should be on your team in regular leagues, because if the starter gets hurt, then you're going to have a round 2, round 3 caliber player on your roster, and that's super important here. Although it didn't really work out last year, but still, I mean, if you land one of these guys, it's gonna mean a lot for your team.
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah, so that's as I said before, that's kind of the sweet spot here. So we still only have 3 running backs. So even though we went running back early, we still need a couple guys to take. So we'll see what happens. Dobbins free agent, by the way. Javonte Williams. These are not the guys I'm talking about. I can see Javonte Williams having a great year, in Dallas, just because it feels like they're going to take a running back in the first 2 rounds. And then Dobbins, he's not on a team. So
Yeah.
I would take like the backup
I mean,
guys.
teams are waiting till after the draft at this point, right? There's no value in signing a guy at this point. So,
But yeah, there's no need. By the way, Kincaid. So I like Kincaid.
yep, me
Um,
too.
Kincaid, McCarthy. We need a third quarterback, and the quarterbacks kind of disappear after a while. So what do you think McCarthy and Ward? It's one of them. I mean, Kincaid just went, unfortunately. There's Kyle Pitts.
What are the running backs available though? Let's see.
So there's Spears, Doodle, Ford, Garendo. I love Garendo.
Yeah, I do too. I like Grando.
Ray Davis, Kareem Hunt, Ray Davis. I'm just gonna star them. There's Algier, gonna start from later. So what are your thoughts? We have to take a guy. It's Jeff McCarthy. All right, so we had to take a quarter. So I assume you want to go running back here.
I think Garendo would be. I like Ray Davis too as a backup option, but I think Garendo would be ideal.
Okay, there's a better chance Ray Davis comes back to us because his ADP is lower. So let's go Garendo, and hopefully we get Ray Davis. It kind of sucks that we ran out of time. It's like 30 seconds is like not nearly enough. So yeah, we have 3 quarterbacks here. We just got a 4th running back, so we have 3, 4, 5, 1. We need a couple tight ends, but I've noticed that like you can get some decent tight ends later on. I'm not like sweating that. So, and there are a couple of teams here. This team has no tight ends. Jack J.
Excellent.
This is Kenny White drafting, right? Is that you, Kenny? By the way, are you in this draft?
It's me. It's me on the side right here.
All right. I forgot about Captain Kirk. Well, there you go. I do like Kirk. Like if you can stay healthy, I like him, but he just can't stay healthy. Let's see. Ford and Davis might be RB1s. Yeah, maybe. Cook just put his house in the market. I saw that. Like I'm thinking, like, what if he just wants a new house in Buffalo? Like, I don't like necessarily think that means he's going to leave. I mean, it could. I don't know. I just like. I don't know. Maybe people are reading too much into that. I don't know. But no, I do think that there's a chance that Jerome Ford is RB1. Although I think it would be a huge shock if the Browns did draft a running back in the first 3 rounds. But then again, like we've seen, like running backs, rookie running backs that come in, everyone thinks they're going to be the starter, and then they don't get taken, or they don't get the starting job. I mean, like it happens all the time. I see like all these running backs going, like Camp Scadabo went round 10. Like there's no guarantee that he's going to be a starter. Caleb Johnson round 9. I like Caleb Johnson. I like these guys. I like Scadabo. I like Johnson. Tootin round 11. Like it seems like I'd rather have Garendo here. I'd rather have Algier. I'd rather have Ray Davis. Like at least like they're known quantities. Like first of all, you have no idea where they're going, and second, they're rookies. They're not going to get that many touches in the first half of the season, if not the entire season.
Right.
So I think that there's
not know where they're going makes it even like just very precarious in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I just think that they're overdrafted, and I feel like it just gives you really good leverage. Like Luther Burden just went right next to Josh Downs. Like I would take Downs like every day of the week over Burden, and Burden could go in the first round, but like we know with Josh Downs, we know he's productive.
Right. I mean, to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking around 10. We're talking around 10. Like he's this guy's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's his 6th receiver. That's a pretty good 6th receiver. And by the way, this guy just took his. Okay, this guy took Anthony Richardson, and this guy took his 3rd running back there. So this guy took his 4th quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. And then Richardson. Kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Richardson. I have no idea. He could have a great year. He could have he could be benched by week 1.
He'll be out of the NFL by week 8.
No, I feel like anything's possible with him. It's crazy.
I have zero confidence in that guy right now.
John says James Cook put his freaking house in the market. Now would be a great time to draft Davis. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like people are reading too much into that. I don't know. And maybe he means something, but maybe he just wants a new house in Buffalo. Like he saw a better house. Like I want to buy it. Like Kenny just moved.
There's like in the entire city of Buffalo, there's like 6 good houses. Come on, guys.
I'd say like Kenny just moved. Is he or like he put his house on the market? Is he going to move out of Florida? Like no, he just moved to a different house in Florida.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So that doesn't really mean that he's leaving. I don't know. It could. I don't know, but just I don't know. I mean I like if I didn't like Ray Davis, I wouldn't draft him. But I do like Ray Davis though, so that's the thing. So I hope he comes back to us. He has not gone yet. It's knock on wood. Cam Ward, by the way, went 13-10. That was the other quarterback we were considering. Rico Doodle just went. Feels like there's not much upside there. And Russell, speaking of no upside, Russell Wilson just went. And that's his fourth quarterback, Russell Wilson. Like, I feel like you can make a better pick than fourth quarterback Russell Wilson. Alec Pierce is one of my favorite receivers here because he has like there are 3 or 4 weeks a year where he just goes off and then he does nothing otherwise, which is like awful for regular fantasy. Oh, Ray Davis went. Oh, we just got sniped. This guy has Kincaid and Coleman. He's just drafting all the Bills. All right, so we have to take someone. Algier's still there. I'm definitely down for taking him. We need another tight end. Gesicki's there. Gesicki had some monster games. Do you want to take Gesicki?
Yeah.
What do you think about Gesicki and Algier?
I like Gesicki. Kareem Hunt's not a terrible option at some point.
What about? I mean, Elijah Mitchell's there too. Do you think he's going to win the job over?
It's hard to. I don't know. Blake Corum, I like a little bit.
I mean, Jalen Wright, Blake Corum. Who do you like more out of these guys?
I think Jalen Wright probably has the most upside.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Adil's the safest.
6 seconds. What are you taking?
Algier, I guess.
Algier. All right. Good enough.
Because the thing is, like, in best ball, like you need some guys that are just like high floor guys. Injuries for a week or two, bye weeks. You need a high floor guy. And Algier is. I mean, if Bijan goes down, Algier Ben becomes very valuable, obviously.
Oh yeah. If Bijan went down tomorrow for the year, where does Algier go in this draft?
3rd round at least, maybe 4th at the worst.
Yeah, I think probably 3rd. And yeah, we're getting a round 3 value at 15-1 if that happens. It's a long off season. It's not like the season's just starting, and even if it were, like you could like Bijan Robinson could go down early. But yeah, I mean, I just love taking these guys here, like Garendo. Like if McCaffrey gets hurt again, if McCaffrey was announced after the year, where's Garendo go? It's probably round 3 as well, right?
Yep.
Maybe even earlier. I feel like he'd be hyped up so much he might go like round 2.
That's part of the problem is that he would probably get overhyped.
Right, exactly right. So yeah, I mean we're getting great value with these guys, and I think that you need to draft these high upside guys late, in the 13 to 16 round range. I think that's the sweet spot, as I was saying before. Jake Bobo around 15. That was our last pick in round 20 last week, and that was Butters' suggestion because he's like, well, if you're right about Cooper Kupp being washed up, they have nothing else besides Jackson Smith and Jigba receiver. And I'm like, okay, fine. So we took Bobo in round 20, and now he's going around 15. I wonder if this person saw our video and was like, I have to take Jake Bobo, or maybe he's just pairing with Sam Darnold. I don't know.
I love it.
John Sanders correcting you, Kenny. 7 good houses. Kenny said 6.
Sorry.
Kenny miscounted. It's okay. It's 7. It's tough to identify a good house sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah, so 7. So we learned that there's 7 good houses in Buffalo. This by the way, this Team 11 guy. So in addition to Swift and Pacheco, he went with 2 rookies, Neal and Sampson, who are probably day 3 picks. I'd be shocked if they go before. So his running back stable is a guy who might lose his job to Gentee or Judkins or Henderson. Pacheco is I like Pacheco. But then he has 2 late round rookies. And so that's a 0 running strategy. Ollie Gordon, I actually like better than the other 2. But still, it's like you're counting on rookies to do something. And maybe he pans out, but like you said, it's going to take a lot of luck for that to happen. Like first, you have to nail which rookies you like the most. And you have to, we don't know where these rookies are going yet. So, you have to have them go into a good situation. I don't mind taking 1 or 2 late, but to rely on them so much. There's another guy, Martinez. I actually like Gordon Martinez more than Neal and Sampson. But still, you just don't know where they're going to go. If you don't know if they're going to get playing time, it just seems like a big mistake.
That's right. I mean, so much of it is even when you do know after they're drafted, there's still such a question mark.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, how many times like we're looking at a rookie running back, and we're like, oh, he should get playing time. Like Kamani Vidal, remember him last year? He got hyped up so much because we're like, okay, Dobbins always hurt, Gus Edwards sucks. It's got to be Vidal, right? And like he saw playing time, what, like in 3 games? He had like
I mean,
one semi decent game.
I mean, even great player, Bijan. Part of
Yeah,
that is right. It was Arthur Smith's ridiculousness, but like, like just like how are you not giving this guy the ball? I don't make any sense.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, Bijan was playing behind Algier. Jameer Gibbs, sorry, was playing behind Montgomery. It's like both those guys are taking the top 12 of their draft, and they didn't see like more playing time than their backups.
That's right.
So yeah, it's and those are first round picks. Those are top 15 picks, and we're talking about guys who are going to go rounds 3 through 7, and like yeah, I mean, look, there's going to be an occasion where it pans out, but you just never know. So yeah, I mean, I get taking flyers in the late, but all right. So we have to make a decision here. We need a tight end. We need some receivers. Wicks, I like his upside. There's Douglas if you want him. He has no upside, but he has a high floor.
Cooper,
Amari Cooper. Yeah, he's not a free agent, but we don't know where. I mean, I'm sure he's going to sign somewhere. And then running backs, so Braylon Allen. I kind of like him. I think he's one of these late round guys. There's Justice Hill. And put him down. Elijah Mitchell maybe later. So what are you thinking here?
I think I'd put Allen above most of those guys because Braylon Allen's like legitimately good.
Yeah.
Do we have a third tight end yet?
No, we don't.
I mean, I like Higbee. I know he conflicts with Williams, but I like Higbee.
Yeah, that's fine.
As a third tight end. I think. I mean, if we need another receiver, you feel like Wicks is good. Wicks is a great best ball guy. All the Packer receivers are great for best ball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Christian Watson's not good for any format, but anyway, besides him, I think they're great.
Now his dad is going to come after you.
That's right. So I think Wicks is fine. I like Allen more, but Wicks is fine.
Let's take Allen and Wicks. Unless you want to take Higbee. Wicks or Higbee? What do you think?
Wicks is the receiver is more valuable.
Yeah, I agree. All right, cool. So we have 3-6-6-2. So we're working our way to Ellie.
How many spots do we have left?
3 more picks.
Yeah, and we've got only 2 quarterbacks so far.
No, we have 3. We Stroud, Stafford, McCarthy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. We got McCarthy.
Which like quarterbacks gets very thin here. So we have Jackson Dart, Cousins, Winston. These guys aren't guaranteed to play. Which is like I think you have to take quarterback. Like your last quarterback has to be before round. I guess 16 makes sense. Like you have Carr, Jones, and Rodgers. Those are the last 3 starters taken. So you need your third quarterback before round 16. I know it's like painful to take your third quarterback like that quote unquote early, but you end up with guys who are not going to play. Although last year I was drafting Justin Fields in like round 16 in every draft. And like for the first few weeks, I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to win these best ball leagues. Like Fields is like going off, and I was like, oh my 16th round quarterback is like I was in first place in all those leagues. I was like, this is great. And then of course he gets benched, and then I drop in the standings, like very very slowly I dropped. So that was very upsetting. I was hoping he'd win the job back eventually, and he probably should have late in the year.
That was a dumpster fire.
That was a disaster for them. I don't get how they didn't bench Russell Wilson late in the year.
Yeah,
he was so bad after a while.
I don't know how he's still in the NFL.
I know. I said this yesterday on the show, but I quote tweeted. It's one of these engagement accounts, and they're like, oh, let's rank the NFC East quarterbacks. So they were like, I think they're trolling Eagles fans because they went Daniels, Prescott, Hurts, and then Russell Wilson. And I said I was like Russell Wilson's not 4th. I would take Tanner McKee over Russell Wilson. I would take Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson. So I would put Russell Wilson 6th.
Yeah, probably. At least. I don't understand the Wilson / Winston signings. I don't get that. Like what? Like why not just pick one and then just draft a guy? Draft a developmental project. I don't
Well,
understand.
You have to. I don't know. You have to kind of like put yourself in the shoes of the guys making the decisions. So like they're both on the hot seat, right? So you would think that they would draft or sign a guy who would give them the best chance to keep their jobs, right? So
You would expect that, but these guys are not bright.
right, and so how do they come to the conclusion that Russell Wilson is their best chance to keep their jobs? Like how's that even like come into like their line of thinking? I don't get it. Like
yeah.
I get Winston as a backup. He was cheap. He's cheap contract. Winston's backup, fine. And people like him in the locker room, and he's been around, so maybe he can help with film study. But like Wilson is not going to help anyone with film study. He doesn't even give his phone number out to teammates. Like he's in it for himself. Yeah, and he's 37. He has no upside anymore. It's all downside with him, and it's a substantial contract too. Like I don't understand what the Giants are doing. Maybe ownership's like let's tank for Arch Manning. That's like the only way this makes sense.
I don't think that's smart.
No, I like, and there's no guarantee you're going to tank, right? Remember the Jets in 2020?
Right.
We thought like the whole year they're going to get Trevor Lawrence, and then they beat the Rams randomly. It's 15-point underdogs, and then they get Zach Wilson instead of Trevor Lawrence. So that worked out.
Man, what a crazy. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has not turned out to be amazing, but obviously he's way better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah. By the way, rookie receiver just went. Isaiah Bond. He can be in the first round. I like this in round 18. It seems like good value. All right. We need. What do we need? We need a running back, a receiver, and a tight end. So we can take them in any order here. Your favorite guy, Mike Williams, is the best player according to the rank. Juwan Johnson's okay. I feel like the Saints are going to draft the tight end. Cheeky Bang Bang Okonkwo. There's Skevich. Your favorite Christian Watson, Westbrook Akine. What are you thinking here? Let's position by position. Shipley. Williams Barkley. I'm not crazy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I like Westbrook Akine. He's probably the best guy of like the most upside guy in this bunch, probably.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want Darius Slayton. That'll suck your soul. You don't want that. And,
of course not.
And I think the receiver I kind of like a little bit. That's not even on this list is Johan Dotson. I don't know what his ADP is, but maybe he's a last pick.
All right, let's take Dotson. All right. Okay. So, and then there's running back. Let's get rid of Dotson. We need a running back and tight end. I feel like the starters are going to go away. Others, Noah Gray. I think he's fine. Chiggy Bang Bang. What do you think?
Chiggy or Noah Gray? Noah Gray's got a little upside as Kelsey seemingly is declining.
Yeah, let's take him. Okay, so we need just one receiver, or no? We can go receiver or running back. So we can with 3-6-8-3 or 3-7-7-3, which is I think the only two viable strategies. I think. Okay, so let's go back to the draft board.
Who are the running backs available?
Oh, Will Shipley just went. There's Audric Estime, Smith, Marshawn Lloyd, McLaughlin, Dillon, Zach Moss. Zach Moss is like one of those backup running backs. Like if Chase Brown goes down, like he could be something. Elliott is I'm going to start him as Elliott. McGonaghy, Brooks, McCormick, P. Ryan, Singletary. What do you think?
Kind of hard to know what's going to happen with Brooks. Like,
he tore his ACL again. I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, it would be late in the year before he even came back, right? So yeah.
Yeah. By the way, you mentioned Westbrook Akine. Another receiver I think who has upsides, MBS. I know, but like it's our last. First of all, it's our last pick. It's just irrelevant. And we saw what he did. Remember what he did last year? Like three weeks in a row, he just had monster games, and then he got hurt. Like maybe like finally like something clicked for him. And this is with Derek Carr too. Not like he was doing this with Mahomes or Rodgers, and you're like, oh, okay, fine. It was with Derek Carr. Like, oh, MBS just won. We don't have to have this discussion, but I think it's worth talking about as like last pick best ball. Like let's talk about like spike weeks, guys. You know, you could have a spike week or two.
Yeah, you might be right.
Okay, well, we have some time here. John Sanders playing the same crew that gave Daniel Jones $1 billion contract, so we have our answer. I don't understand. I really don't understand this.
The same crew that refused to give Saquon Barkley $33 million, that gave Darius Slayton $36 million.
Yep. Well, Darius Slayton's so much better than Saquon Barkley, yeah. Like,
I mean, like, come on,
running back when you have a mediocre
different position, but like, just on face value, like how absurd is it that Saquon Barkley, wanted that amount of money and you said no, and a year later you're giving it to Darius freaking Slayton? Like, come on. I would rather eat a pickle and yellow mustard sandwich while watching a soccer game than have Darius Slayton on my team.
What if you think your fifth receiver? I don't think it's that bad, right?
No, it's bad.
It's bad other way.
He's my eighth receiver. I think it's bad. I don't know. My soul is worth more than that, Walter.
He did have a couple of good games when Neighbors got hurt last year.
I want no part of it.
Oh man, it's pretty brutal that you would want to do that instead of having him. Poor Darius Slayton's probably watching the show in tears. It's like, I worked so hard, Harry just went. I worked so hard in my career, and these guys are bashing me, and he's like crying right now. Poor Darius Slayton. And who knows? Maybe his dad's almost as crazy as Christian Watson's dad. I still can't believe he attacked me for saying that. Like, he's like, oh man, I lost a bet. It's like, how dare you like be so classless? Like, what are you talking about, dude? That's so bizarre that like he like quote tweeted me because I was upset I lost the bet, and like he thought I was attacking his son. Brandon says Marshawn Lynch, Devin Singletary, James Cook. The Bills hate paying running backs. This is true. The same Giants refuse to pay Saquon, Xavier, Kenny, just like, but yeah, as Kenny was saying, they can pay Singletary and Holland, and I think Holland's a good player though. Yeah, Singletary, not a very good running back, and Slayton, a number 4 receiver probably at best. This is like, I have no idea what they're doing. It's such a bizarre front office.
Yeah,
but it's good for the Eagles, right?
It's great. It's great. We've talked about this so many times before. There's just a part of me that wants to believe that no one that's just totally incompetent could ever make it to being, to being the GM of one of the few NFL. Like, there's only 32 jobs like in the world. There's 7 billion people on the planet. You got 32 GMs. There's no way that any idiots make it into those spots, right? Like, everyone who makes it into those spots are absolutely brilliant, right? No.
Well, think about it this way. There's only, so you mentioned 32 GMs, 32 head coaches. There's only one president of the United States, and we just saw Joe Biden as president.
That's right.
It's like, it's pretty wild, Jaden Blue. I like this round 20, Jaden Blue. I should keep that in mind. I think he ran a 4.2, if I remember correctly, 4.28 as pro day. I know pro day, blah, 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 but still, I mean, you could go highly. All right, we're up. Last pick. We need either a running back or receiver. Who are you taking, Westbrook, Akine, or Zach Moss?
I like Westbrook Akine. I think he's got some upside occasionally. I think Zach Moss sucks. Even if Brown goes down, I think he sucks.
Okay. All right. Our draft is completed, so let's review our team. We went 3-6-8-3. So we have Saquon Barkley, Jacobs, and Williams as our top running backs, and then our backups are Guerendo, Algier, and Allen. I like that because if you take those top 3 guys, you don't want to take mediocre, low ceiling, high floor guys late, because they're never going to outscore these guys unless there's an injury. But if McCaffrey goes down, Guerendo could definitely outscore these guys. Like, probably not Barkley, but Jacobs or Williams. Same thing with Algier. Bijan goes down, same thing. Raylan Allen. If Breece Hall goes down, same thing. So I like the strategy of taking these guys. Our quarterbacks, we went triple back. Stroud, Stafford, McCarthy. I can worry about Stroud with the supporting cast, but if they do well in the draft, then it will work out. I love Stafford this year. I think he could win MVP. We talked about like maybe betting him at 40-1 to win MVP this year. And then McCarthy could just be the pilot of this great Minnesota offense. And receivers, we went quintuple in a row and then 3 late. So we had Zay Flowers, Metcalf, Shakir, Calvin Ridley, Pittman. Feels like Metcalf can sometimes have big games or spike weeks. Zay Flowers certainly can. Shakir is like more consistent. Like he doesn't really have spike weeks, but he's high floor. Calvin Ridley has huge spike week potential. Pittman's kind of like Shakir, but I think there's a little bit more variance there, especially with like Anthony Richardson. But if it's Daniel Jones, I think he's gonna be more consistent. And then late we took Wicks, who has spike potential, Dotson, this your guy, and then Westbrook Akine. I agree. Like he had 9 touchdowns last year. I think there will be some regression, but still, like if Hill or Waddle goes down, suddenly he's gonna be the receiver 2 in Miami. It just feels like a good thing. And then our tight ends are Njoku, Gesicki, and Noah Gray. Noah Gray I'm not like crazy about, but there is some potential there. But what way Gesicki played late last year, I think he could have a monster year. And then Njoku feels like it really depends on what they do at quarterback. Like there's talk they might get Kirk Cousins. That's going to be great for Njoku. If they roll into the season with Pickett, it's not that great, but we don't have that information right now. But Njoku is pretty talented, so 9th round, I think that's okay. So how do you think we did in our draft?
Oh, I think we did great. I mean, we're perfect. We're the best team there. No, I mean, I like. Now that I look back, I wonder. You know, we started with 3 running backs, and now I'm looking at some of the other running backs on the board, and I wonder, did we neglect running back for too long? Should we have come back to it a little bit sooner?
Who are you looking at?
We didn't come back to it. I mean, it was round. We didn't draft another running back until Agrendo. I was at Agrendo in round 13 there, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I wonder, Tony Pollard in that spot, maybe, we went Ridley there, Daniel Montgomery, before the Shakir pick might have been value. Jaylen Warren might have been value there instead of Shakir. Like there are a couple running backs that might have been good value. Hard to know how the board would have shook out if we had drafted one of those guys.
I do like Pacheco there, around 10, but I don't know. I feel like if you go triple running back, then, you need guys who are going to outscore these guys, like pretty consistently. And I just don't feel like that's going to happen. And I just think that like if you go super heavy running back early, then I don't think it makes sense to go back to running back until late. Like I do like what we did, even though we missed on some of these values, like Aaron Jones. I like him a lot there. So if we went 2 running backs to start, then we could have taken Jones here. Would have made a lot more sense. So, but if we did go double running back, then which receiver would you want instead of either Williams or Jacobs? Like, is it Jackson Smith-Njigba, Higgins, Wilson, McLaurin, like Moore, Evans? Who are you looking at?
Yeah, it's a good question. I got to make this bigger because I'm getting old and my eyes are not always working. And so, I love Njigba this year. I'm much higher on him than most people. And so, I there's also some running backs that went a little later than I thought. So maybe instead of a 3 running back, I mean, I love where Chuba Hubbard went. I love where Chase Brown went. Bryce Hall. I mean, Bryce Hall last year was a consensus top 3 pick in every format, right? Even Cook, obviously the contract situation is a question mark, but Cook in round 4 is good value. Ken Walker and value at the end of 5 is good value. So I wonder if maybe instead of 3 running backs off the top, maybe there would have been a receiver that's worth there, and then you snag one of these other guys. So instead of Zay Flowers and DK, we're drafting one of those guys in that spot. A Chuba. Instead of, we wouldn't have had a chance to draft Chase Brown anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter because, I'd still take Kyren Williams over Chase Brown. So, I think that as I look at this, the thing I kind of noticed the most is I kind of hate drafting at the first spot. So,
no, really,
love getting Barkley, but I think I like Gibbs, I like Bijan Robinson. I think the third spot maybe is a spot I'd like to have instead. And if you're gonna, if you're in the middle of the first round and you want to go, if you want to go receiver, and yeah, you want to go if Justin Jefferson is available in the middle of the first round, maybe that's a better way to draft, better spot to be in.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, I love Jefferson at 105. Like conversely, CD Lamb at 106 doesn't feel that great.
Where do you have Lamb going typically?
I mean, that's his ADP is 106, but I think that his ADP is too high. It feels like it should be late first round. Like I'd rather have Neighbors, I'd rather have Collins, I'd rather have Nakua, I'd rather have St. Brown in PPR, I'd rather have Thomas. So I pushed all those guys ahead of him.
Yeah, I probably would too as well.
Yeah, I don't trust Dallas's offense. I don't trust the offensive line, and I don't trust Brian Schottenheimer.
I'd even take AJ Brown ahead of him.
Yep.
AJ Brown, by the way, went late in the stretch, 2.6. I mean, that feels late for me.
He was going late first round last year. I think he was going like 110, 111.
I mean, I would take AJ Brown over McConkey. I like McConkey, but I think Brown's obviously better. He's clearly better than London. I would take AJ Brown above Brian Thomas at this point and above Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I get you can make an argument for St. Brown, but I think I like AJ Brown more than him. I like him more than Nakua. So I probably have AJ still in that kind of the 8th to 10th spot in my mind.
Well, he's another player who's going to benefit if the tush push gets banned, theoretically, right? Because I mean that means they might throw more, so that'll be more touchdowns for AJ Brown.
AJ Brown was awesome last year. I think people forget that he missed multiple games. I think it's like not on people's radar. Like on a per game basis, he was the number one fan. He was the number one receiver in fantasy football last year, in most formats on a per game basis. Mm-hmm. People forget that he missed. If you only count the games that he played in full, and if you count the games he played in full with Jalen Hurts, his numbers are even better. I mean, it's so. I think people are kind of forgetting that to some extent.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I love AJ Brown. I don't know why he's going so late. It feels like he should be in the first round mix too. I totally agree. Like he belongs to those guys that string of receivers you see in the first round.
By the way, the Eagles, when in games where AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts were fully healthy and played the whole game, the Eagles were undefeated last year. They didn't lose a game.
Yep. Their 3 losses were they lost to the Falcons. AJ Brown was out. Barkley dropped the pass, and then Kirk Cousins had that drive at the end. Mm-hmm. They lost to the Buccaneers, where everyone was out. They didn't have Lane Johnson. They didn't have AJ Brown. They didn't have Devontae Smith.
Jordan Mailata went out in that game.
Yeah. They were missing everyone. Like Hurts played, but like he was just by himself. And then the final game they lost is the second game against the Redskins when Hurts got injured. They were up big, and then Devontae Smith dropped the pass. And it was 2 drops equaled 2 of the 3 losses. So their only real loss was to Tampa, where everyone was out. So it's kind of remarkable that they just kind of almost ran the table. It's also remarkable they almost lost to the Browns coming out of the bye, which is that's the one result last year. It's kind of mystifying to me because they got everyone back, and yet they almost lost to Deshaun Watson.
They also almost they almost lost to the Panthers too. I mean, they didn't play well against the Panthers in that game.
That's true. But that was at least that was an obvious look ahead spot for them. I forget who they have next, but they I knew they were looking ahead. It seemed obvious that they would just be flat in that game. But the Browns game was after their bye and after a humiliating loss to Tampa. I thought that they would come out like gangbusters and play well against the Browns. They almost lost. Deshaun Watson drove down the field in the fourth quarter and almost beat them.
I think I think those kind of situations were just to show you how hard it really is to win in the NFL. For you to go undefeated or to win 15, 16 games, so many things have to go right. It's you could play great and be a great team, and just little things along the way happen. It's you got teams that win. I mean, you think about what the Patriots did for so many years, and just year in and year out, winning 12, 13 games. One season when they went undefeated. So many things have to go right for that to happen. I mean, it's just the Eagles were phenomenal. Phenomenally talented, great team last year, and still had hiccups. Because that's part of the game. It just goes to show you how hard it is to win.
Yeah, and this is something to like bookmark for DFS purposes, and I guess like a regular fantasy if you're deciding who to start. But um, like great players or like talented players who embarrass themselves, because we saw, remember Saquon Barkley had dropped that pass. The next week against New Orleans, he had a monster game. Devontae Smith, he dropped the pass. He had a huge game the following week. I forget who was it against. I think it was against, was it the Giants? I think he had I forget who, no, it was against Dallas. He had a monster game against Dallas in the second matchup, and then not non-Eagles, Jonathan Taylor. Remember, he dropped the ball short of the goal line in the infamous battle of the horses, and the next week he had 220 yards and 3 touchdowns. So like I almost actually won a showdown, the Cowboys Eagles showdown. It's like one of the single games, like 5K to first. I had the wrong Cowboy in. I had the exact right team I needed to win. I just had the wrong Cowboy. And I had like Devontae Smith captain with Hurts and I forget who else, but AJ Brown, Barkley, and like someone else, I forget. But then I had the wrong Cowboy, unfortunately. So I almost won, but that would have been nice.
I feel like you've had that happen several times where you're like right within striking distance of winning it.
I know. It's that infamous switch that I made, going from James Conner to Zamir White, where I would have won $50,000 if I kept James Conner in. And of course, like I was listening to a show on Sunday morning. I was listening to a Stochastic show, and one of the guys like, James Conner's gonna be the highest owned player on the slate. I'm like, let me take him out. I hate playing highly owned guys, and so I took James Conner out, and I played Zamir White. And Zamir White had a good game. He had like 80 yards and a touchdown. He had like 18 fantasy points. Like fine. James Conner had like 30 something fantasy points, and that was the difference between winning 50,000 and winning less than 4 figures. Instead of first to 10th in the single entry spy. That was
it does drive me crazy how the drop off in the prize pool does drive you crazy a little bit.
It really does. I hate it. It's like sometimes you see contests like 50K to first, 10K to second. I'm like, you just make like 30K to first and like divvy out the 20K elsewhere. It's not as like sexy, if you win first place, but I don't know. It just feels like you can make it more even, like more balanced. I hate contests like that. I totally agree. Yeah. As by the way, something similar happened to me in the NBA. I had this guy Josh Green. He was like my low-owned punt guy because like the Hornets didn't have a LaMelo Ball playing, and so I played him. And like the rest of my lineup went off. I had the highest scoring Josh Green lineup. I finished, I think, in like 7th or 8th place in the NBA in this contest, in this GPP. If Josh Green just hit his is like 5x, which is like 20 fantasy points, I would have won, I think, 20K or something. Instead, he had like 7 fantasy points, and I did not win 20K. Again, didn't even win 4 figures. So. It's you're right. This does happen to me a lot. Like I'm almost there. Just one guy like kills me all the time. Actually, in golf, it happened the same thing. I played the round 3 showdown. I had the wrong 6th guy. I would have won the showdown. But it's I should write a book on like all these bad beats. Ken says team looks solid to see another draft. Well, I mean we're 12:35 a.m. here, so. We're an hour and a half in, so I don't know if we could do another draft. Plus, like the problem is if we try to load up another draft now, it might take like 20-30 minutes to get in. So we'd be like running on 2 hours. But here's the thing: I'll do a draft tomorrow, as well to make up for it. So we'll do a draft tomorrow. I don't know if we're gonna have guests tomorrow, but I'll ask around. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, anything else, Kenny, before we head out?
No, I did a ton of research on the. I looked through pretty thoroughly. I looked through the Jamar Chase and T. Higgins contracts. I wrote a long article, and I'm going to post it. I'm actually breaking it up into 3 different articles. It'll be kind of 3 series. Yeah, but I'll give you a quick, the little quick sneak peek. Is this the T. Higgins contract? He got $20 million up front as a part of his contract. You know who other players got $20 million? Or more in their contracts up front? A year ago, Calvin Ridley got $20 million up front. Christian Kirk, 3 years ago, got $20 million up front. Devontae Smith got $23 million up front. This year, Mike Evans signed a new contract. He got $21.8 million up front. So, I mean, Jalen Waddle got $28 million up front. I think he signed his contract 2 years ago or a year ago. Jamar Chase, same thing. Like the Bengals just have a very particular way of approaching contracts. And I kind of just break down like they've gotten better, but they're still pretty cheap and kind of they're manipulative. And the fact that T. Higgins and Jamar Chase were not unrestricted free agents yet. Like they held all the leverage, right? So anyway, I'll be talking about that a little bit. I did a wrote an article about the salary floor. So all that stuff will be coming out over the next week. By next week, by the time we talk, I'll have at least 3 articles posted.
Nice. Yeah, we can delve into that. So yeah, check out thecapIsFake.com. Tons of great content on there about how the salary cap in the NFL is fake. Yeah, we'll be back. So Ken says fair enough. Only 9:30 p.m. where I'm at. Definitely. I love being on the West Coast. Like when I go out to Las Vegas every summer, it's like feels so much better when it's like it's midnight on the East Coast, only 9 p.m. here. It just feels like you have all the time in the world. But all right, yeah, like I said, we'll be doing more best ball drafts tomorrow. If we can start a draft early, hopefully we can sneak in 2 drafts, as opposed to waiting like we did today. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would help us out a lot. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow. Like I said, don't know who the guest is, but we'll be doing more best ball drafts. And then Saturday, Tom will be on. And then next week, we're going to have all the shows. So yeah, guys, once again, thank you so much. Kenny, always great to do this with you. And yeah, have a great night, guys. And I'll talk to you later.
You the man.